Welcome to Scaling New Heights, a program by engineers for engineers. We'll take you behind the scenes and provide a small glimpse of what it takes to create the software and services that make our modern world possible. As you'll learn, the problems aren't just technical, they're also human. Each executive on our program is a member of the ENG community. ENG stands for Engage, Network, Grow, and it's a peer network of more than 200 top technical executives at leading SaaS companies. They're each on a personal and professional journey to scale to new heights. Joining us today is Gracy, Chief Digital Officer at Agero. Bernie, welcome.
Thank you, Christine.
Why don't you start with a brief introduction of Agero, since a lot of people probably don't know what you do.
So I think some key stats will make it aware, because I think actually most of your listeners deal with Agero but may not even know. 2 out of every 3 new U.S. passenger vehicles are covered by Agero. 115 million drivers are protected every year, and 2 out of the top 3 top insurance carriers choose Agero. What do? We're a white label roadside assistance platform for when you're broken down on the side of the road, you have an accident, have a question about your vehicle, and most importantly, our new digital dispatch platform, where we basically serve 12 million roadside assistance events every single year.
Wow. And you joined about 4 years ago. Paint the picture of your starting point.
Yeah, so 4 years ago, Agero is at the top of its game. Some very new, I will say, digital ankle biters were out there. Some new upstarts were beginning to probe around our very large installed base. And the company also recognizing about where our clients are headed and where we needed to head, that we needed to digitalize our platform. So as we began a process of evaluating my candidacy, it really was a focus on taking our technology and taking our people and our capability and to bring Agero into the next set of digital capabilities, to continue on its nearly 50-year journey providing roadside assistance in the United States.
Okay. So what was your mandate on joining? Why did they need you?
So I think the key thing is I had just come from a company that had built out a digital multi-sided platform. And if you think about what Agero is, we are kind of like the Uber of roadside. So on one side, we have auto OEM companies, we have insurance companies. On the other side, we have tens of thousands of independent roadside assistance, towing, repair companies. And our capability is really about selection and matching. But our perception and what we were outside was a very large contact center company, right? Where we're taking all these calls. And so really the mandate coming from the CEO and coming from the board, digitalize the business, digitalize our intake, build out a digital set of capabilities, to not only meet the needs of the business, but more importantly, meet the changing needs of our clients.
Wow. All right. So there's a really big vision and kind of a big transformation initiative as you came in. Explain what the hardest part of that quest to digitize was and the impact it had on your journey and your team.
Yeah, so if you think about, when you talk about the digitalization of the business, it's like the ultimate shift left. So if you think about it, the heart of Agero has always been our amazing heroes, our agents, the people who pick up the phone call. When somebody calls us, they're not happy, they're not going to chat, they don't want to buy something, they're in panic. They've been in an accident, they've had a flat tire, there's something wrong with their vehicle. And we've always had these empathetic agents who are able to work them out of the situation. And we continue to do that to this day. So the technology we built was really around making that agent experience really amazing. But it was still in the context of this B2B white label relationship. When you're digitalizing that, you're basically shifting all the way to the consumer on the side of the road, where it's no longer that empathetic agent. They're still available. You can connect to them at any time, but you're now trying to create an experience with that, again, that prevalence of that mobile phone in an emergency situation where people are scared. How do you create an experience where we're keeping them in channel, capturing all the information we need about who they are, what vehicle they're driving, the nature of the disablement, and then figuring out how to get the right service provider at the right time, subject to their SLAs and their agreement to get them solved. So a B2B company had to learn to be a consumer company. That to me was the ultimate challenge in making this thing work.
Wow, exactly. That is a huge shift. And so as you were brought in, was the board, the executive team, was everybody aligned around this objective?
So the board, yes. The CEO, without a doubt. It was interesting. The alignment challenge, though, was tough inside because, again, from a sales perspective and our brand, it was always around the agent experience. That was a key part of our value proposition. And so you're bringing in this capability to say, well, wait a minute, where does, the behavior of consumers if they want to talk to a person, what if they want to talk to a person, and how do you balance the need to digitalize with the need of creating this experience that the brands would also like? And one of the things we needed to do was to recognize that when you are building this B2C experience, it's not like you build an experience and you're done. It's much more like an e-commerce company. You are constantly analyzing, how are people using the service? Why are they escaping out to an agent? Where were they confused? And we recognized, just like a company has a shopping cart and their shopping cart abandonment, you're trying to figure out what's going on. We had to recognize that to get our salespeople happy, our client services people happy, our clients themselves, and most of all the consumers, that we had to constantly work what is the experience to build not only trust in the consumer, but all our other stakeholders who are very nervous about this journey and what it could mean, for the, what they're held accountable towards, which is Net Promoter Score and making sure that, we had very clear instructions for the service providers and where to get them. All these things were obviously at play and of concern that we had to navigate.
So you're on this huge transformation journey. Like, you're basically re-engineering the entire company end to end, the ecosystem end to end, your customer's journey end to end. Like, everything is being completely re-engineered. There had to be some scary moments. Pick one. Take us kind of to that valley of despair when you wondered if you could even make all of this work.
Yeah, I think there were two, and I think there's important. I know a lot of the audience will be engineers. So the first is we had a separate team that was basically creating the experience, and there was a set of rules about what the information that needed to be captured in the experience. But if remember, I said earlier on that at any point a customer can select to go to an agent, and one of the things to drive efficiency, that all the information that was captured automatically by the customer would be made available to the agent so they wouldn't have to repeat the questions. But what we found out was that the agents didn't trust the data that the customer captured, and they would actually make the customer go through the experience all over again. And we had to do focus groups of like, why are we doing that? Because it creates customer dissatisfaction. Because there were a couple of things that were missing from the online experience that the agent had. For example, color of the vehicle. The people who were doing the consumer experience didn't think color of vehicle was a requirement. The agent knew it was important because that was information that needed to get passed to the service provider. So they didn't trust the data that was captured. So we had to keep now these two separate experiences in complete sync. That was one thing that we had to get through, and that made a huge leap. But we also had to build out a significant partner ecosystem to go make this work. We had a complex voice as well as visual navigation to make this work. And as we deployed this, and we're all excited, and we were doing this within somewhat limited budget, that platform went down. It went hard down. And it was not built out with the sufficient monitoring and redundancy to basically recognize that it needs to be high available, because if it's down, all those calls are going back. They are going to go back to agents, but it's sort of defeating the purpose of having a digital experience. So this required a significant pullback on really what is done. So it's not only is the customer experience journey never done, but thinking about all the failure scenarios and building a super resilient 7x24, monitored platform with automated failover for whatever reason to basically create that experience. I'm happy to say, Christina, you're not even aware of this. We were just awarded literally a couple days ago as the most innovative use of this monitoring technology to make this digital solution work. And we had to kind of go through that valley of failure to now be able to be, an extremely highly reliable and resilient digital intake capability for Agero.
Yeah, that's fantastic. One of the things I find so inspiring about your story is, like many in your spot, you are the head of engineering, the head of digital in your case, but you really end up operating like a general manager. Like, you're setting strategy, you're driving transformation across the entire business. It's a big undertaking. When you look back at this journey, what are you most proud of? Have you achieved the goal? And what, you got an award, but kind of what intrinsically are you most proud of in terms of your impact on the business itself?
So ultimately, I'm just the tip of the spear. I have an amazing team. And I think what's been fascinating for me, my biggest joy, is that we have unlocked our talent. We had so many people in our engineering community and our product community step way out of the box, and without fear, and setting, BHAGs, those crazy goals to go after, and we blew through them, absolutely blew through those goals. And what's happened now, the ownership and taking this sort of this integrated holistic view, we have bigger BHAG goals and we crush those. So these continue to build on themselves. We also took, what I'll say is we sort of it was a 50-year-old company. I'll say classic IT company. Place was, the place was kind of empty at 5 o'clock. We're now a 7x24x365 global company. So the clock speed of the company has changed. We've had to accomplish more with less, and the people have risen to the challenge. And because we set out big goals, and they weren't goals from on high. Now these are goals that the teams are embracing themselves and are pushing themselves. So to me, that cultural transformation is a tremendous achievement, that sense of ownership, and to recognize that there's literally no problem that this team will not go out and address. And so now the board and our CEO, seeing what we've accomplished, has said, all right, what more can we do, right? And now it's about, our expertise is now being leveraged by our clients to say, you've done amazing. How can you advise us on our mobile application strategies and how we do intake? So we're now acting as consultants, my product people to their product people, how to evolve it. We've also bought a Silicon Valley area company in 2018, Swoop. So not only are we doing this organically, we're also doing this inorganically, where we're taking all this capability and are accelerating our digital transformation with Swoop and the tremendous talent we have there, and bringing those assets together have really now accelerated what we're doing with our platform. So couldn't be prouder of the people and how we've unlocked their value.
That's great. And you're part of our Eng community, a peer group of VPs of engineering and CTOs and chief digital officers. One of the big things we try to do is share learning. So as you look back on this journey, what did you learn, or what would you do differently?
So I think I just gave you a soliloquy about how bold we are now. I think we could have been a little bit bolder. We try to operate within a budget that I did not set, within a certain set of constraints, where if you step back and say, what does success look like? We knew what the goal was, but really in the context, as I said, in that situation where we had that outage, which was a pretty material outage, that I should have gone earlier to say, we need more budget, but this is what you're going to get for it. And this is, what the net impact is going to be on the business, which, the benefits have been outstanding on both the consumer experience as well as our own economics. So I think that being bolder earlier, but on the flip side is we now have a track record of achieving the impossible. So now when we do ask for those things, they're pretty much provided, because the company and our clients know they're going to get a return.
Yeah, it is such an inspiring story. You and your whole team have had such an incredible impact on Agero, and the company itself has just an amazing transformation experience. You should feel really proud. I feel proud to just know you and have heard all of this journey as you've been going through it.
Thank you.
Let's do a quick flip to something fun. Let's do a lightning round of questions. Are you up for that?
Okay, let's do it.
All right. Star Trek or Star Wars?
Star Trek.
Beach or snow?
Snow.
We're in COVID. What TV show are you binge watching?
I'm a news junkie, so Meet the Press.
Interesting. Okay. Political news junkie or just any news?
Political news junkie.
If you had to pick a different profession outside of tech and what you're doing now, what would you do?
I would be a off-grid farmer.
Wow.
Yep.
So maybe I know the answer to this next one, but would you cook dinner or would you DoorDash?
Oh, I would cook dinner.
Do you have a specialty?
Yeah, I make a killer eggplant parm.
Awesome. All right, very last question. This show is called Scaling New Heights. What's the biggest or scariest thing you personally have ever scaled?
Oh, this one's easy. My greatest personal accomplishment was solo kayaking in the Adirondacks. Did on an 80-mile trek. It was with a larger troop that were in canoes, but I said, I'm going to do this myself. So I took an expedition kayak and every stroke was my own. And to this day, at one point, we didn't see another human being for 3 days. You're living off the land, pumping your own water, cooking your own food, hanging bear bags at night so you wouldn't be eaten, and had to basically, the last paddle was in 35-mile-an-hour winds as white caps were crashing in my boat. It was, to this day, the greatest thing I've ever done.
Amazing. Well, the second greatest thing is the transformation at Agero. Congratulations on all of that. Bernie, thank you so much for joining us on the program, for sharing all of your experiences, and congratulations on everything that you've accomplished.
Thank you for the opportunity to share what me and, most importantly, my people have done.
If you want to hear more stories or learn about Eng and how to become a member of the community, visit scalyr.com. That's SCALYR.com. Thank you.